Hey, how are you? This is Daniel Zendi, and today we're going to have an international look on where are rich people moving. And the photo of the day is me when I was like five next to a Ferrari. Obviously, it's a fake Ferrari, but still, I think it's a cool photo to start the day with. And here's the data you want. So, rich people are moving to Southern Europe, the Anglosphere except the UK, the UAE, and Singapore, pretty much. Japan also a little bit. And they're leaving East Asia, especially China, Taiwan, Vietnam. They're leaving all of the BRICS, so South Africa, Brazil, Russia, India, etc. And they're leaving Nigeria as well. So they're pretty much leaving developing countries and the UK and going to Southern Europe and the Anglosphere and Dubai and Singapore. That's pretty much what the data shows. Let's interpret the data now and see what my opinions are. So the first thing is the BRICS really are a fallen hero. Despite being portrayed as a beacon of hope in the 2000s, Goldman Sachs obviously coined the term BRICS. They've largely fallen back into authoritarianism. Russia is isolated for obvious reasons. China faces a demographic collapse, and Brazil is increasingly authoritarian and has had ridiculous economic performance. So let's look at the graphs a little bit. This is the Brazilian stock market in US dollars. It peaked in 2008. Literally, so 17 years ago. And it's not even flat after that. It's like negative every single year pretty much after that. The US dollar has appreciated in value so much, and the stock market has had such unimpressive outcomes that, well, EWZ, which is the Brazilian stock market, is one of the worst investments in the last 2 decades, pretty much. Russia obviously suffers from gazillion sanctions. It has its own demographic collapse as well. It has a lot of social problems, alcoholism. It's just not a good country, and I doubt that it ever was, but still. And then China, obviously, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, China was a force to be reckoned with, but they just stopped having kids. And that's a while back, of course. But if you look at this, the under 5 population, the projections are not good at all, and some estimates say that China's population will halve by the end of the century. And you can't just have a functioning economy like this, especially since China is not that rich right now, and so it's reasonably poor, not poor, but like it's middle class, and it's gonna have to sustain a huge amount of old people, and well, good luck doing that. Following up, the West. So the West, despite what the gurus say, the gurus say one thing, but that actually says something else. And the fact is that the West is still vastly popular for all types of immigration, both regular people and millionaires. They feel that there's something to gain. AGI is still the highest in the world. And if you're rich, the high prices, the cost of living, they won't be a problem, will they? And that's what I'm trying to show. So obviously, pretty much by AGI, Europe, Australia, and like some city states, like not city states, but like small states like Hong Kong, Singapore, they lead in HDI. For net migration potential, which is not a millionaire thing, but it's just generally US migrants, if they could move anywhere, where would they go? And then you divide that by the population of the country. So Singapore is 200%. That means that if everyone who wanted to move to Singapore right now did, its population would triple, literally 2 people for every current resident. New Zealand 184%, Switzerland 150%, Australia, Canada, Ireland, the US, they're all vastly, vastly popular countries. It shows. It shows. Obviously, yeah, they've been gaining millionaires a lot. And I don't think, I mean, that could be changing, but it's not going to change anytime soon. You know, it's a very gradual change. Third off, Southern Europe. Is it too little, too late? So Southern Europe boasts 3 among the top 10, which is incredible because Southern Europe is not like it's populated, but it's not that much. Like there are not that many people living in Southern Europe, so it's really really amazing. Obviously, it has low prices, good weather, and tax incentives attract retirees and entrepreneurs alike. But it's questionable whether that will be enough to reverse the negative demographic and economic trends, especially if old people are moving to your country, if millionaires are moving to your country, they're not having a lot of kids. And so obviously, like I said, real wages in Italy, they have been stagnant or declining for the past few decades, which is really, really problematic. And the median ages in places like not only Southern Europe, so Japan, for example, but especially, obviously, Monaco, Italy, Spain, Greece, Portugal, it is so high I don't think that even with foreign investment, even with people moving there, I don't think it will be enough really to save those countries from a very, very stiff decline. But we'll see what happens in the future. The UK, it's distorted, but it's still worrying. So why would I say that? Obviously, it's distorted because it canceled its non-dom program, which means that a lot of people who had very favorable tax situations in the UK won't have that favorable situation anymore, which is why so many people are leaving. That might be sort of a temporary thing. It's kind of like an artificial boost in the amount of people leaving, but it's still put it here, it's equally unattractive to working class people and to millionaires alike. The exodus of wealth to tax havens and labor to Ireland, Australia, and Europe is bound to be problematic. And you see that because you see so many British people moving to Australia and New Zealand. It's crazy, and they're not happy in their own country, and there's a lot of reasons why. And I mean, at least with Southern Europe you have good weather, you know. In the UK you don't even have good weather, so it's definitely worrying. And obviously, the UAE and Singapore are the clear winners here. They per capita, they have by far the largest increases. They're very, very popular, and they're becoming more and more hubs for just everything, for finance, for tech, for global movement, for travel, for like they're obviously some of the best connected airports in the world. I was in Singapore's airport just a week or two ago, and it's amazing. It's really impressive. And so, yeah, they're global cities. They're not really whole countries. It's very concentrated in Dubai and Singapore. And they're more likely to attract and concentrate capital in the future. That is definitely my opinion. So the way I would wrap it up is that the West remains largely popular with rich people and normal immigrants alike. But non-Western countries are starting to catch up. However, competition at a large scale is still kind of lacking because East Asia faces demographic challenges. Africa and Latin America, they still lag really, really behind. And there's some global city hubs that have diversified, so Singapore, Dubai, but developed countries, they have largely stayed unchanged. So the countries as a whole that people want to move to, it's still largely in Europe, in North America, and Australia and New Zealand, pretty much. And that's where rich people are moving as well. So where would you move, whether you're rich or not? Where would you move if you had the chance? Let me know in the comments below.